I remember when I booted up an old retro game like Super Mario Bros., I'm struck by how simple it feels. No tutorials, no skill trees, no open world map cluttered with icons, yet 40 years later, it, along with other retro titles, are still considered the baselines in game design. Games like Tetris, Pac-Man, and The Legend of Zelda aren't just nostalgia bait, they're core blueprints for what makes gaming great. So I wanted to talk about how these old school mechanics still kinda slap and why I think modern AAA gaming should still implement and remember them to some degree. First would be teaching without or very little tutorials. Modern games love hand-holding. AAA games bombarding you with pop-ups explaining how to climb a ladder. Old school games like Super Mario Bros., it throws you into World 1-1 and just lets you learn by doing. The first screen has a Goomba walking towards you? Jump it. The next gap forces you to sprint? Sprint it. The hidden block above the stairs? Trial and error. This isn't lazy game design. I actually think it's the best form of tutorials. The game trusts players to figure things out, creating a dopamine rush with every aha moment. I think From Software games like Elden Ring is one of the most recent games that reminded me of this. You get to actually get lost in the world that you're in. You learn things on the fly, and you end up enjoying every little discovery you make. Second would be putting constraints, as it breeds creativity. Back in the day, old hardware couldn't handle sprawling worlds or 4K textures, so devs got creative. Tetris, when it was designed on a Soviet-era computer, turned limitations into a global phenomenon back in the day. Its blocks are simple, but the way they force your brain to plan ahead is just pure addiction. Or take the OG Pokemon Red and Blue. The Game Boy's monochrome screen and 8-bit sound forced Game Freak to focus on gameplay depth. The result? A rock, paper, scissors battle system that's so good it's still being used by the franchise and is the backbone of their gameplay to this day. Meanwhile, modern games that prioritize flashy graphics over substance flops. Modern side-scrollers, on the other hand, restrain themselves into 2D that results in a more creative and a deeper gameplay system. Think Hollow Knight, Dead Cells, and even Stardew Valley. Third would be difficulty that feels fair. Retro games are hard. Contra's one-hit kills, Dark Souls' granddaddy, Ghosts and Goblins. But here's the thing, their difficulty always felt fair. You died because you messed up, not because the game cheated, at least in my opinion. Modern games often mistake frustration for challenge. FPS games, skill-based matchmaking rigs lobbies just to keep you grinding. Spongy enemies instead of interesting boss mechanics in certain games, or broken systems like BS hitboxes are a few examples. Although let's look on the bright side. There are modern games that do get it right. Some indie devs still honor retro principles. Celeste is probably one of my favorites in recent time. They use pixel art and tight platforming to tell a story about anxiety. Hades blends roguelike repetition with narrative payoff, rewarding persistence like Castlevania did. And even Elden Ring, a AAA title, borrows a lot from Zelda's show Don't Tell exploration. But for every Celeste, there's a Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, a live service mess that prioritizes other factors over simple fun. As the years pile on and as gaming becomes more and more accessible, we're drowning in a sea of bloated games stuffed with content but devoid of soul. And I hope developers make games that reminds us that sometimes less is more. A great game doesn't need 100 hours of gameplay, it needs 10 minutes so good you'll replay it 100 times. And that's it for the video, thanks for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe. You guys know the deal. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Stay safe out there. Bye!